Did TikTok convince you that you have ADHD? You're not alone. Millions of adults are getting diagnosed and medicated based on 15-second videos. But here's the catch. Those symptoms you keep seeing, they might be anxiety, or depression, or trauma, or just modern life pushing your brain too far. And the real danger? Fast-moving telehealth clinics are handing out stimulants with barely any testing, locking people into the wrong treatment and making things worse. In this video, I'll show you how to spot real ADHD versus what only looks like it. But wait, who am I to be calling out the everything is ADHD hype? My name is Dr. Sulman Aziz Mirza, triple board certified in adult psychiatry, child and adolescent psychiatry, and addiction medicine. And if my 75,000 TikTok followers have taught me anything, it's this: ADHD sells. During the pandemic, ADHD prescriptions among adults exploded. Stimulants up 30%, non-stimulants up 80%, according to JAMA Psychiatry. That's not a trend, that's a tidal wave. Let's go back to some time none of us ever want to relive. It's March 2020. Structure vanished overnight. No commute, no coworkers, no boss pacing behind you. Just you, your screen, and a brain not built for isolation. And suddenly, people couldn't function. Emails ignored, meetings missed. Zoom fatigue hit like a wall. Simple tasks felt impossible. It wasn't ADHD, it was collapse. And then TikTok filled the gap. Did you forget to eat? Lose your keys constantly? Scroll endlessly, then feel guilty? Millions saw these videos and thought, that's totally me. But it wasn't just information, it became identity. Social media poured gasoline on the fire. ADHD TikToks listed broad, everyday struggles. Comments exploded with "this is literally me and I finally feel seen." But these creators weren't doctors. They had no training, just massive reach. Telehealth startups like Dun and Cerebral and others saw the opportunity. No waitlist, no full evaluation, just a 15-minute video call, a same-day diagnosis, and meds at your door tomorrow. Fun fact, at its highest, Cerebral was the third biggest advertiser on TikTok behind Amazon and HBO. Hell, they even signed Simone Biles to advertise for them. Speaking of gold medalists, women were hit the hardest. Non-stimulant prescriptions rose 59%, stimulants jumped 25%. For thousands, it was the first time ADHD had ever crossed their mind. Then came the backlash. The Justice Department charged Dun's executives with illegal prescriptions. Cerebral got investigated. These weren't edge cases, these were business models built on shortcuts. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The pandemic didn't cause a spike in ADHD, it pulled the safety net out from under everyone. And without structure, even healthy brains started to crack. Real ADHD doesn't show up when life gets hard. It shows up when life is easy. It's a lifelong condition, present before age 12, and visible across multiple settings. Not just on your worst week, but always. Here's where things go sideways. Your brain feels like it has ADHD, even when something completely different is happening underneath. Anxiety, trauma, depression, autism, sleep issues, these can all wreck your focus. They mimic ADHD almost perfectly. But here's the catch. They need completely different treatments. And if you get it wrong, you're not just off track, you're falling deeper into the wrong plan. Let's break it down. There are two major problems here: misdiagnosis and overdiagnosis. Misdiagnosis means there's something real going on, but it's not ADHD. Maybe anxiety's been riding shotgun your whole life. Maybe trauma has your brain stuck in high alert. Maybe depression has you frozen, foggy, and stuck in the mud. But because no one caught that, you get labeled with ADHD and medicated for something you don't have. Overdiagnosis is a different beast. That's when ADHD gets handed out too fast, too easy. A rush video call, a checkbox quiz, no deep dive into your past, no checking when the symptoms started, just you're distracted? That's ADHD. That's not diagnosis, it's assembly line medicine. And here's the kicker. Different problems can feel the same, but they don't respond the same. Anxiety? Your thoughts race, you're on edge, you avoid tasks because they feel overwhelming. Not because you're impulsive, but because your brain is scanning for danger. Trauma? You're hypervigilant, reactive, zoning out under stress. It's not that you're inattentive, it's your brain trying to survive. Depression? Everything slows, focus collapses, memory fogs. It's not about distraction, it's about depletion. From the outside, it all looks like ADHD, but inside, the wiring is different, and so is the fix. And here's where it gets worse for women. ADHD was originally diagnosed based on hyperactive young boys, fidgety, loud, impulsive. But girls? They're more likely to internalize daydreaming, perfectionism, emotional sensitivity. They're called quiet or shy or too sensitive, and their symptoms get missed. By the time adulthood hits and the pressure piles on, career, relationships, motherhood, it can all fall apart. Doctors see the attention issues and label it as adult onset ADHD. But for many women, it wasn't new. It was just never recognized. Getting the wrong diagnosis isn't just frustrating, it's expensive, it's exhausting. You waste time, take meds that don't work, get side effects that can cause serious damage. And the real problem? Like Hulkamania, it keeps running wild in the background, brother. So what happens when you get the wrong diagnosis and start the wrong treatment? You don't just waste time, you risk making everything worse. Stimulants like Adderall and Vyvanse are not harmless productivity hacks. They're powerful, prescription-only, controlled substances that can change your brain chemistry. If your brain doesn't actually have ADHD, they can backfire. Hard. Got anxiety? Stimulants can supercharge it. You're not just distracted, you're wired. Heart racing, thoughts speeding, restless becomes panicked. Got trauma? Stimulants can crack you open. That survival mode brain, it gets louder. Flashbacks hit harder. Panic gets sharper. The chaos doesn't calm, it escalates. Depression or bipolar, stimulants can tank your mood or launch you into mania. These aren't side effects, they're system malfunctions and potential emergencies. And here's the cruel twist. When the meds don't work, people don't question the diagnosis, they blame themselves. Maybe I need a higher dose, maybe I'm just broken. Meanwhile, the real issue, trauma, anxiety, depression, goes untreated. You're stuck fighting a ghost diagnosis while the real monster grows. This is what clinicians can call masking. You're treating symptoms that were never ADHD. You're numbing signals instead of solving causes. And it gets worse. In 2022, the DEA reported a 1 billion dose shortfall in ADHD meds, partly because they were being overprescribed to people who didn't actually need them. Real ADHD patients, kids, teens, adults, were left scrambling. Misdiagnosis doesn't just hurt individuals, it clogs the system. It creates a domino effect, delays, shortages, burnout, mistrust. ADHD treatment works, but only when it's actually ADHD. Anxiety needs coping tools. Trauma needs healing. Depression needs restoration. The wrong path leads to nowhere. The right one can change your life. Ever feel like your brain's just tired? Like your attention span is shrinking by the day? You're not broken, you're overloaded. The average person gets interrupted every 11 minutes by digital noise. That's like trying to read a book while someone keeps flicking the lights on and off. No wonder your brain feels fried. Our modern society isn't built for focus. It's built to steal it. Social media hijacks your dopamine. Every scroll delivers a cheap hit and leaves your brain craving the next one. Email, Slack, push notifications, it's non-stop. And that's before you factor in burnout, sleep debt, and decision fatigue. Every micro-choice, what to eat, where, post, say, it all adds up. Your brain taps out by noon. And what happens next? Executive dysfunction. You can't plan, can't start, can't remember. Everything feels foggy, you feel scattered, and then you blame yourself. But here's the truth. This isn't ADHD. This is a system failure. We've built an attention-hostile world. Open offices, non-stop notifications, meetings with no space to breathe. Even people without ADHD are struggling to function. And the constant task switching, it trains your brain to never focus deeply. You start to live in a fog. Distracted becomes default. That doesn't mean you're disordered. It means you're human. So, what separates real ADHD from a stressed out brain? ADHD doesn't start during high stress periods. It starts in childhood. It shows up in every environment. Home, school, work. It's not temporary, it's neurodevelopmental. It's built in. If your attention issues began after a major life change or only show up in certain environments, it might not be ADHD. It might be stress, burnout, or emotional overload. If you can focus just fine on hobbies or games, but not your job, that might not be your brain, that might be your job. Real ADHD brains process dopamine differently. These differences show up on scans and genes and across lifetimes. And no, you don't catch ADHD from a TikTok scroll. So if I just burst your bubble, well, your struggle is still valid. It's just time to match the right cause with the right solution. So what do you do with all of this? Start with the right diagnosis, not a 5-question quiz, not a rushed video call, a real full-scope assessment that asks about your childhood, your environment, your stress levels, and your whole story. Because if you get the diagnosis wrong, you get the treatment wrong. And if you get the treatment wrong, the real issue keeps growing. ADHD treatments work for ADHD, but anxiety needs coping tools, trauma needs healing, depression needs energy and hope. You deserve help that actually fits what you're facing. And if you're a woman who spent years wondering, why can't I just keep it together? You're not alone. You might be one of the millions of women whose ADHD was overlooked, misread, or flat out dismissed. I made a whole video breaking down why ADHD in women gets missed and what to do if that's your story. Click below to watch it next, because if ADHD sells, misdiagnosis costs. And it's time we got that story right. Until next time, be safe and be well.